My name is Mary. I'm a 34-year-old housewife who's become a veritable hunter due to the influx of bugs in my rural home caused by slight climate changes. In my younger days, I could openly express my fear of bugs, but now having crossed 30, I find myself squashing them expressionlessly. Oh, tough I've become. Let me share a story about how I dealt with my own sister, who had a crush on my husband. This happened a few years ago when I was still in my 20s. There was a high school reunion where I reconnected with my childhood friend, Mike, who used to live nearby. At Plations, in our early elementary school days, my sister Lily, 2 years younger than me, Mike and I often played together. But as we grew, Ike became embarrassed to play with girls and gradually drifted away. We became more distant after he moved away. At the reunion, I was quite nervous. However, as adults, we have a great ally. It is alcohol. I love you, alcohol. Thanks to the power of alcohol, both Mike and I opened up, and it didn't feel like it had been ages since we last met. After the party, just the two of us went on to a second and then a third venue. When we were kids, I had a crush on you, and it seems like I still do, even as adults. What's that supposed to mean? I replied, but then casually asked, "I want to get in a relationship." That's how our relationship began, with such a light-hearted exchange. A few days later, a sober Mike was rolling on the floor, berating himself for talking too smoothly. The man, "I talk too much. So embarrassing. Was I being too suave? Who do I think I am? Ex-memorization and furtly chain template." Watching him do this, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. It's a bit funny when the person you like is incredibly embarrassed, especially when you're the reason for it. I feel a bit bad for him though. And then things moved quickly and we decided to get married. We visited each other's parents' homes to announce our upcoming wedding and in the start of our living together. We planned to live together before the wedding to get a sense of each other's lifestyles. Since we were childhood friends, our parents already knew each other well. No problems there. Permission was granted without any fuss. That's how it was supposed to end, but of all things, a problem cropped up at my house. Happened when Mike came over for dinner with my family. "Comes home," said my sister Lily in a deflated tone as she returned from work. Upon seeing Mike at the table, her surprise quickly turned to happiness. "What? Mike? Why are you here at our house?" Ahem. Mike was a bit embarrassed and glanced at me. "We've actually been dating for about 6 months now, and we've decided to get married. We came over today to share the news," I said, thinking it was best to tell my family myself. So, I explained everything to Lily in place of Mike. At that moment, her face twisted as if she had bitten into a bitter bug. "Okay, I'm tired, so I'm going to bed. See ya." Saying that, she hurried into her room and slammed the door shut with a bang. Wow, that was harsh. I hope she's not too upset, I thought, looking at Mike with a troubled expression. But he just smiled back and said, don't worry about it," which relieved me. Just to mention that Lily isn't usually like that. Perhaps she was upset about my marriage or us moving in together. But why would she be the only one displeased when even our parents had no objections? I couldn't understand Lily's feelings and kept pondering whether I should ask her directly after Mike left. When I was about to head to the bathroom, I ran into her at the hallway. I was at a loss for words, and she glared at me fiercely. "I never thought you'd marry Mike. I've always liked him too. I'll never forgive you for this." Bumping away with heavy footsteps as if scattering a demon's fury, my sister left. I was left dumbfounded by her unexpected and shocking confession. Seriously? She liked Mike? This felt like something straight out of a soap opera, and I was overwhelmed. After a sleepless night, mostly spent in restless thought, I came to a conclusion. What does it matter if my sister likes my fiancé? After all, Mike and I are already set to marry. It would be different if Mike liked her back, but that's not the case. Moreover, if she's liked him since childhood, she should have told him sooner. It's her fault for not expressing her feelings, not me. He says I anticipated some backlash from her, but I decided to face it with a big sister's composure. Despite the seriousness of the situation, I chose to take a lighter view of it. However, I still wondered if I should tell Mike about this. This was because I was worried about Mike finding out about my sister's feelings. If I don't, he might continue to feel uncomfortable every time he visits, not understanding the reason. Considering he's also involved, I thought it is best to tell him. Tell him everything. Don't hesitate to tell me if there's anything, although there might not be much I can do. Mike said, "Worrying about me? Indeed, it's a sister issue. But maybe if she ever comes at me, I'll use you as a shield." I joked, "Hey, don't mess around." He laughed. So we decided not to overthink it too much. Neither of us had any intention of changing our decision to get married, and it wasn't a situation where we could convince my sister and make her understand. That left us with only one option. Just let it be. That was our choice. As expected, my sister's attitude towards me became harsher after that. On the first day, I found the bathtub water drained after she used it. That's no big deal. There's always the shower. Really, such petty and minor acts of spite. My sister can be quite the character. I could even afford to joke about it. But it did get to me when she hid my makeup and wallet before I had to leave for work. I mean, who has time for a treasure hunt in the morning? I ended up seriously searching while the term late popping up in my mind. Because of it, I ended up being almost late to work, and my boss even gave me cold looks wondering if I was getting lax because of the upcoming wedding. Unforgivable. But no, I'm the older sister. I should forgive her or maybe not. Well, it was a struggle. Initially, our parents didn't know about our pranks, but they started to suspect something was off when valuables like jewelry began to go missing. Mom scolded her. "Why are you acting so childish?" Though Lily seemed to brush it off as if it was nothing. The real problem was Dad. After Lily was born, Mom got sick and Dad had to take care of Lily for a few weeks, even though she was still a baby. He tended to favor her more, or rather, he was biased towards her. It's like he developed a motherly feeling due to his childcare experience. I understand his feelings, that when times were tough, he found Lee adorable, and so did I. If I think about when he clearly favored her, it might have been when I wanted to go to the amusement park, and she wanted the aquarium, and Dad just said, "Let's go to the aquarium then." Mom always made sure to ask me, "Are you okay with the amusement park?" So I don't really have painful memories of Dad's favoritism towards Lily, but if Mom hadn't been that way, I probably would have felt quite inferior. Even then. My friends would say things like my sister gets more love, so I never really thought much about the uneven distribution of affection. Maybe it's just my naturally optimistic personality. I'd like to see someone who can bring me down. Just kidding. But this time, Dad openly sided with Lily. Apparently, she told him that I stole her boyfriend. So in his eyes, Mike became the worst man who toyed with both sisters. Like Cypress, I guess he sympathized with Lily, thinking about what happened to her after being abandoned while I got married. Mom was skeptical, saying Mike doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would do that. And she listened to my side. She remained impartial, not fully believing either me or Lily. But Dad said, "I can't bear to see your sister abandoned and toyed with. I won't allow my beloved daughter to be treated like this by anyone. You need to wake up." As if I'd been brainwashed by Mike. No matter what I say, he wouldn't listen. He's a good father who deeply loves us sisters, even if there's some favoritism, but this time, I really wished he would listen to my side of the story. Opposition to our marriage was becoming a real problem, so I decided to push through with my plan. Simply said, I decided to move out earlier than planned and start living with Mike. If the problem was with my sister, then it made sense to put some distance between us. If I wasn't at home, she couldn't harass me. And that would be the end of the problem. Indeed, this decision turned out to be the right one, as our cohabitation was peaceful. As time went on, Mom said, "I think you're probably right, and you're an adult now, so do what you want. Life freely." It seemed unhappy, but surprisingly, he didn't say anything. He probably thought that even if Mike and I broke up, I would still be pitted, and he couldn't imagine Mike going back to my sister. He must have thought this was the best way things could work out. It was hard to see Mike being made out to be the bad guy. I heard nothing from my sister. I thought maybe that was the end of it. Then came the wedding day. As expected, my sister didn't attend and Dad urged me. "It's not too late to reconsider," Mom laughed, saying, "I've also thought a few times after marrying your father that it was a mistake. Just be prepared. Marriage has its ups and downs." It goes without saying that Dad turned pale in the background. Not everyone may have been wholly supportive, but under our parents' watchful eyes. Mike and I got married. The next day, our home's doorbell rang incessantly. What the? Mike and I jumped out of bed. Rushing to the monitor, I saw my family had come to visit, all together. Bells did stay ears. Mom, actually too. What on earth is going on? I was shocked and Lily glared at me sharply. I kept quiet, but I'm pregnant with Mike's child. Big responsibility. Yeah, so you're fortunate to not have any children yet. Now, Mike should take responsibility, leave you and marry Lily. Give Mike up to her. Listening to Lily and Dad with a confused look, turned to me and asked, "What's going on?" Mike, still sleepy-eyed, had followed me to the front door. "Oh, what? My child? What?" He finally seemed to wake up, shaking his head vigorously at me. "No, that's not true. We didn't do anything like that." His panicked denial was like something out of a comic. I knew that. In fact, his panicking made him look suspicious, so he should stop. I wanted to laugh, but kept quiet. Mike's child? What do you mean? How many months pregnant are you? 2 months if Mike doesn't take responsibility. This baby will end up without a father. That's sad, right? 3 months. Startled by my sister's statement, I exchanged glances with Mike. Empty. Both of us burst into laughter. My parents, confused and bewildered, didn't know what to make of it. My sister, flustered, exclaimed, "What are you laughing at?" "Well, yeah, right, 2 months ago." I laughed so hard that tears came to my eyes. "Lily, that was fun the other day, wasn't it?" "I don't yet." Lily was momentarily thrown off by Mike's sudden question. Her parents, not understanding Mike's intention, glared at him with disgust. Probably. I was the only one who realized what he was up to. By the way, Lily, how many abs did I have? What? My sister stood there, dumbfounded. I almost burst out into laughter at his absurd question. 2 months ago, remember how many abs I had? If he'd misplaced them like a lost item. I was laughing so hard, I felt like I was developing abs myself. What are you talking about? Mike? The correct answer is 0. I almost said. I know, but Mike, unfazed by my sister's puzzled look, sullenly confessed he had no abs. Even Mom couldn't help but laugh at this. This battle might just be won by whoever can make the other laugh. Second question. You saw my moles too, right? How many are there? What? No, I mean, what? Lily was clearly confused by Mike's ridiculous questioning, and that's understandable. After all, confusing my sister was Mike's goal. Since there was no physical contact between them, she couldn't possibly answer any of his questions. If she slips up, well, that would be a lucky break for us. Let's have some fun. That's where we were at. She could have simply said, "Nothing like that happened," and ended it, but instead he deliberately kept asking various questions, enjoying the fact that my sister couldn't answer. Indeed, Mom was starting to feel something was off about the distance and attitude between Lily and Mike. Isn't it strange for people supposedly in that kind of relationship? Of course it is. Such an interaction is impossible if they really had spent a night together. But it's too embarrassing to have such a conversation in front of parents. The mere fact that we're having this conversation is proof that nothing really happened. It was Mike's way of teasing and baffling my sister, a sort of comeuppance. He seemed to be enjoying it immensely, like a child with a new toy, showing an innocent expression. Wow, what a scary guy. I couldn't help but think that anyone who couldn't go along with this kind of joking around wouldn't last as Mike's wife. I watched my sister's response as she, seemingly in desperation, answered his second question. 10 moles, maybe? Dong sorry. The correct answer is, I don't know either. Then Dad burst out laughing at this. But then, trying to hide his irritation, he snapped enough. Mike, after leading my daughters on, don't you dare joke about it. I had to stop Dad as he looked ready to confront Mike. Wait, listen. You said the pregnancy is 2 months, right? Then, considering the timing, it's impossible for the baby to be Mike's. Hey, what do you mean? Asked, intrigued by my statement. Can I say it? I glanced at Mike, who, looking utterly embarrassed, reluctantly nodded. Wait, let me say it. Can you? Yeah. Watch me do it. That's with feigned bravado. He puffed out his chest. So Veronica. Let's acquire eat. Actually, around that time. And I got stung by a bee in a very sensitive male area. At this moment, everyone, even Lily, burst into laughter. Stop lying. You can't get stung there. Dad was angry while Mom was clapping her hands in laughter. Well, embarrassingly enough, it's true. It was hot, so I thought I'd cool down a bit. Taking advantage of the privacy, I opened the window and relaxed in my birthday suit. And then, buzz, this guy flew in and stung me right there. Frickin' Mike's face, even his ears turned bright red. I tried to refrain from laughing at him, embarrassed because of my family, but I couldn't hold it back any longer and burst out laughing. There's no way such an embarrassing man exists. Well, there is actually one right here. He protested loudly, but it wasn't exactly a story one would be proud to share. That doesn't prove the baby in my belly isn't Mike's. Luckily, Lily, seemingly regaining her ground, joined back in. Leno takes as mo questioningly. Think about it. A bee, right? Stung in a very important place. Hey, father-in-law, you understand, right? Imagine the pain of having such a vital spot injured. Lily fell silent at Mike's serious face. Today, Dad, imagining the scenario, subtly held his groin and looked down. The Terry Dad initially looked stern, but it was clear he was starting to believe Mike's story. It's really important for a guy a very delicate area, you know. It was serious. We even called an ambulance. I was more embarrassed being the one accompanying him. I chimed in, adding to Mike's story. He even had a fever. It was tough. I mean, making a baby in that condition? That's just too eccentric. You can check with the hospital we visited if you want, Mike said in a fading voice, prompting Mom to burst into laughter. Mike, I remember you always used to strip off your swimsuit when we played in our backyard pool as a kid. Come on, show me where you were stung. What? It's already healed. There's no proof here. I'm not showing that. Come on. Mike, protecting not the stung area, but his chest, tried to escape Mom's hands. Relieved. Mike, however, seemed relieved for a different reason. Yeah, as a man, I sympathize. It's too embarrassing a lie to make up. No need to check with the hospital. At that moment, Dad looked at Mike with a kind of compassionate gaze, almost like respecting his last shred of dignity, which I had never seen before. Ironically, it seemed understanding from another man was quicker due to the nature of the injury. Does this count as a silver lining to an injury? In the midst of this, I turned to my sister, who's standing there dumbfounded. Look, even if you make up such silly lies, neither Mike nor I will divorce. Even if you make up such silly lies, neither Mike nor I will divorce. You're just making yourself more miserable. I might not be believable to you, but I truly want you to be happy. You are my only sister after all. At that moment, my sister's eyes widened in anger. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I don't like Mike anymore if he's on your side. She became emotional, attempting to grab me, but Mike firmly pushed her hand away. It's okay if you don't like me. I love Mary, and that's all that matters. I consider you an important childhood friend and sister-in-law, but I will never see you romantically. If you keep lying like this, I'll confront it head-on. I'm Mary's husband, and I will protect her with all my might. I almost cried at his words. He didn't look anything like the man who once said in delirium after being stung, I'm done for. The world is against me. My husband, looking so cool. Seeing this, Ed said, Lily, if you're really pregnant, show us some proof like a doctor's report. Because hearing this, it became clear that our parents had believed Lily's pregnancy claim solely based on her word, without any evidence. I love my parents for always believing in their children, but this time their kindness seemed to have backfired. Mom also said, if it's a lie, apologize to them both. Thuckly bit her lip, trembling. Nobody is on my side. Don't come to me with regrets. At that, she left the room in tears. Ed tried to follow, but Mom stopped him. Let her be. She needs to cool off. 2 weeks later, Mom took Lily, still insisting she was pregnant, to a gynecologist as expected. There were no signs of pregnancy. She was diagnosed as a perfectly healthy adult woman with no illness. My parents apologized to Mike, saying, we're sorry for the trouble and for doubting you unjustly. We've known you since you were young. Ike and we should have trusted you. Please take good care of Mary. They also apologized to me. We're really sorry for making you feel bad. To be honest, I never blamed my parents, especially since I hadn't told them about the deteriorating relationship with my sister. It's true that parents who believe in their daughters unconditionally might be viewed differently by others, but to a daughter, it's reassuring. They're irreplaceable. my one and only precious parents. Everyone makes mistakes. And this time, it was my parents, particularly my dad, who was usually biased towards my sister, but considering how well they raised me, I thought I should forgive them. After all, without them, I wouldn't have grown up so happily and met Mike. After her pregnancy lie was exposed, my sister got embarrassed and lashed out. I'm done with this family, and left home. Because in the past, my dad, being soft on her, would have gone after her, but this time he said, "It's better for Lily to have some cooling off time away from home," and did not go after her. Mom said, after such an act, she can't just brush it off as a whim of love. She can't come back home unless she apologizes sincerely. I doubted my sister would ever apologize to us. Mom thought the same. In essence, it was a de facto disownment. 7 years later, my sister did come back home and apologized, but she was eventually disowned for real. Usually, she behaved well, but at the end of that year, she drank too much, sneaked into Mike's bed, and made an advance, saying, Aren't you tired of my sister?" Mike, thinking he saw a ghost, screamed so loud it could have woken the neighborhood. The commotion woke everyone, and the incident was uncovered. Lily, heavily drunk, blurted out, "I'm just jealous of how close you always seem to be with my sister. Why can't you share a little with me?" Of course, that was never going to happen. Furious, I scolded her. Mike was terrified like a chihuahua, and my parents, for the first time, looked utterly furious and disowned her. Especially my dad, who used to dote on her, said, I'll never forget the disgust on his face. Especially is superior. Lily apologized repeatedly, but Dad firmly rejected her. Actions when drunk show your true feelings. I can't trust you anymore. And so she tearfully left home. Meanwhile, not long after that tumultuous end of the year, I discovered I was pregnant. Since then, I've been, quite prolific in childbirth. At ease, now at 34, I'm a mother of 4. Two of them are twins, so I've only given birth 3 times. It's almost like having a year apart between them, so every day is like a festival at our home. Leave them alone will leave the walls become a crayon art exhibit. Occurring on Sunday mornings, Mike and I run around with cleaners, but the kids keep drawing as soon as we clean. Even with such challenges, these days are enjoyable. The youngest is in the terrible 2s, hating clothes, toothbrushing, toilets. It's a handful, but seeing all 4 angels sleeping, I forgive everything. Is our parents delighted with not only the first grandchild, but all these little angels frequently visit and helped us with childcare. Mike is supportive too, though he's worried about becoming bald because the kids pull his hair during piggyback rides. That's the smile he shows Willow, but the kid says he can't help but adore them. It's okay even if your hair becomes thin. Since you are promoted, your salary could afford good hair growth treatments. Watching him struggle with potential baldness is amusing. After all, you want to see all sides of the person you love, right? Our home is far from quiet and peaceful. It's noisy, but I'm very happy.